guys, Hannah Weber here, and since vlogaween is just around the corner, I thought I would make a video talking about some scary movies / TV moments that creeped me out as a kid, and some of them creep me out still to this day, and some of them haunt me. So let's get into it. Now, these aren't like worst to best or anything. They're just the order that I thought of them when I was writing them down. And I'm probably gonna mention some other ones as I go through these. So yeah, let's go this. Number 1 is every time someone gets hurt in Home Alone. Like, I watched Home Alone for the very first time like last Christmas, and I freaking broke down crying watching it. Not because the kid's family is like super rude to him and just like hates his guts and just wants him to die or something, although that is true. But this movie actually embodies 2 of my biggest fears. One is being left behind in a group of people and not being able to find like help and just being stuck in one place for the rest of my life. And, you know, the group of people who I was supposed to be with not being there, that's one of my biggest fears, mainly because I got lost one time and it just scared me into having that fear. Second of all, I just don't like seeing people in live action movies getting hurt. I just noticed that. I don't like seeing live action people getting hurt. Even if it's like, let me explain. If it's like a cheap effect and it's obvious that they're not getting hurt, like in Batman, in the 60s Batman, where they're throwing obvious fake punches and they're obviously falling before they ever get hit, I don't have a problem with that. But when it looks like someone is actually physically being like cut, or actually physically stepping on something sharp or something like that, it actually scares me a crap ton. So like that scene where the kid's like trying to protect himself from the people trying to break into his house, I don't find that funny. I find it very painful to watch. I just don't like seeing real people seemingly getting very hurt, even if they are bad guys. It's like, you don't have to like torture them like that. It's just it's not funny to me. And also, my second fear is anything being in my house that doesn't belong there. Like animals, people, ghosts, anything. Anything that's in my house that shouldn't be in my house scares me. The idea of it scares me, and it just makes me want to, like, scream. Whether it's animals, spirits, or people, I don't care. Just get out. Don't get them in my house. So that's why I hate Home Alone. Okay, second of all, another movie / show that traumatized me as a kid. I have to say that I didn't have a whole lot of I didn't watch a lot of movies as a kid that I would classify as traumatizing, but this I would definitely classify as traumatizing. Like, even thinking back on it now, I'm like, ugh, just like terrified. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, there is a book series called Agatha Christie. It's a murder mystery series, and some of her mysteries star this character called Poirot, who is a detective. And my sister is a huge fan of the Agatha Christie murder mysteries novels, and she actually tried to get me to read a couple of them once, and I started reading it but never finished it because it was just not moving fast enough for me. I like fast-paced books. Like, I like it to get into the adventure really quick, and it was slow-paced, so I got bored with it. Anyway, so this particular scene is from one of the movie adaptations of one of the books. I know that there is also one that I watched that was like based on Murder on the Orient Express, but honestly, that one didn't scar me as much as this one that I remember. I don't remember which mystery this is from. All I can remember is there's this scene in the movie I don't know if it's a flashback or a nightmare scene or something, but basically there's like this creepy clown doll. It's kind of like faded. It's like blurry, and then it like focuses on it, and then the camera like zooms over, like pans over, and we see a door into like a bathroom, and we hear like kids like in the bathtub, and then it's just like the nanny or the babysitter or someone is just trying to like drown the kids in the bathtub, and that scene just like messed me up as a kid. It was just like, it haunted my head, and yeah, so clearly it's still, like, thinking back on it, just scares me. And I don't think I had like nightmares, because I never really had nightmares after doing anything scary. I had like nightmares like only when I fell asleep during like scary things. Like, I didn't have a nightmare after watching something scary, but if I was listening to that one episode of Adventures in Odyssey, which was about conquering your fears, which is super ironic, then I would have nightmares. Which is why, for the longest time when we were listening to that as a kid, I would purposefully make myself stay awake during that episode so I didn't fall asleep during it and have a nightmare, which is probably why I'm such a night owl now. Anyway, so that scared me pretty bad. Okay. Third of all, and this is probably one of the second newest moments in this list. The third spirit from the CGI A Christmas Carol. I always forget that version of the Christmas Carol is Disney because it was so dark, and it's done with motion capture, which I don't think of Disney when I think of motion capture. I usually think of like the Barbie movies. So yeah, but they really went hardcore on the dark and nitty gritty elements in that. And don't get me wrong, I actually love that version just for the spooky atmosphere and stuff. And I would definitely watch it again. It's really spooky. Okay. Next up is the scene in Disney's Pinocchio where Pinocchio's friend turns to a donkey. It's just scary. It's probably one of the scariest moments in a Disney movie, in my opinion. Even more so than The Night on Bald Mountain, because honestly, that didn't scare me all that much. I mean, obviously it's scary in the sense that it's hell, but it didn't like scare me so much as in I was having nightmares and it haunted my head or anything. No, it didn't really scare me that much. Don't know why. Okay. This one I was actually thinking about earlier. The child kidnapper from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I actually read a theory having to do with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang not that long ago, where they compared the child kidnapper's outfit to that of a morgue, which really creeped me out when I read it. And also, it made me think, what if the child catcher is also killing these kids? That would make him like almost like a serial killer. That's really creepy, don't you think? So yeah, I'm pretty sure the child kidnapper haunts all of the minds of like anybody who watches that movie. So yeah. Okay, this next moment, it is just like, it scarred me as soon as I saw it, and I was just like, what the heck, Pixar? As soon as I saw it, I was just like really taken back. And I'm going to put a spoiler warning here. If you have not seen Incredibles 2 and the short before Incredibles 2 yet, skip to the next entry on this list because this is going to be a huge spoiler for the short Bayou. Okay, this moment is when the mom in Bayou eats her son. Eats! It's like, okay, I can accept the fact that the writers were like, oh, it's a living dumpling boy. It's not a big deal. She eats him because he's food. He's living food. But he's sentient food! It's like, how did this get past the writing staff? It's like, that's super messed up. And it like haunted my head for like weeks after I saw it in theaters. It was just like, WT! It's out of my head now, just thinking about it. In fact, I'm surprised nobody else is like traumatized by that moment. I hear people talking about like Bayu and being like, oh, it's a cute short because it's like the mom has to deal with the fact that her son's growing up. And I'm like, no, it's a freaking creepy short where a lady who has a sentient dumpling son eats him! Eats him! Did anyone else hear the echo off of my ball chair, which is behind the camera? So yeah, that is just the most messed up thing Pixar has ever done, and I hope they never do something like that again. Okay. Okay. This next one is going to be super obscure, and I'll doubt that any of you will get this at all. But it's in, for those of you who don't know, before Disney ever made movie adaptations of C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia, BBC did a series based on the 3 of the books. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is basically the go-to one that everyone goes to, even though it's not the first book in the series, technically. Prince Caspian, which is the most boring book ever. Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and the one we're talking about right now, which is The Silver Chair. And I absolutely adore The Silver Chair. It is the best Chronicles of Narnia book, in my opinion. But there is a super creepy scene in it, in the BBC version, and in the book alike. And it creeps me out whenever I read it, creeps me out whenever I listen to it, creeps me out whenever I watch it. And this is one of the main reasons that I wish someone else would do a newer version of The Silver Chair, because I know they could just make this even more terrifying with newer effects. And that's the scene in The Silver Chair when the Lady of the Green Kirtles turns into a serpent. And it's just a really spooky scene, and I really like it. Even though it's spooky, it's really good. And I just know they could make that terrifying with new effects, because the BBC version, it was made like even before the 2000s, so the effects were pretty old. I just know if someone were to make it with new effects, they could make it even more terrifying, and I kind of want to see that. So if you're watching this and you have the access, if you have the means to make a updated version of the Silver Chair, do it. So, moving right along, this one's a little obscure as well. The brain-eating worms in Star Trek. I don't remember if this was a series or if it was on the movies, but the worms that they like put in your ear and it like eats your brain and then you like become Morg or something. Yeah, that's pretty scary. And also it scared me half to death when I had an ear infection and I had to put those drops in my ear and it felt like they were going all the way through. These last two ones are really not as bad as the other ones on my list. I think I just wanted to make it a round, even number list. This next one is just a visual thing and it just makes me cringe thinking about it. Crumbs in My Eyes from Littlest Pet Shop. It is just disgusting and gross, and who thought it would be a fun or cute moment, because it's just cringy and it makes me want to like scratch my eyes out whenever that scene happens. Fluttershy goes all evil in either putting your hoof down or Scaremaster. Either of those episodes, Fluttershy is at her worst, in my opinion. Fluttershy is a total meanie pants in putting your hoof down. Oh, and she doesn't even get any of the blame. Everybody blames Iron Will on it, which, sure. And then in, like, Scaremaster, she's totally rude to everyone, and everyone's just like, oh, well, she's not being mean, she's just scared. No, she's not scared, she's being a total pain in the patootie. It's like, she almost made Pinky practically cry. I mean, she's just like, oh, well, if I eat that candy, I might choke on it, and then I won't be able to call for help when the monsters attack. And it's just like, Fluttershy, you're being a pain in the butt, shut up. So, yeah. So these are some scary moments from TV shows and series that I strongly dislike. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.